Painting with Menoth John is presented in Super Legitivision. Super Legitivision, the future of podcasting. It's .com.
Hello, I'm
Menoth John.
and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your
miniatures
and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. Start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if only you could see what I see when the camera has not yet been turned on. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Menoth John, and you are here on the Wednesday Night Extravaganza. By God, we turned on the technology that allows for faces being tracked, so I'm literally going to be everywhere. The camera's going to be chasing me. I'm like a moving target, guys. I'm all over the place. Anyway, so, hey, welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday night. Welcome to week 334 of coronavirus hell. I am, of course, Menoth John, and with me up in the catbird seat is, you know him, you love him. He is the wind beneath my wing, the best in the business, and the co-host with the most, Mr. John Spencer.
Hey-o.
Oh, well, hey, folks, you know, we're here on a Wednesday night to help you with your cabin fever blues, if you will. And, John, how are you this fine evening?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I am spiffy. I am ready. I have, I had a little happy hour with a good friend of mine from the Seattle area that I work with at the Starbucks. So we had a little beverage. She made a vodka tonic using some candied lemons, John. Can you imagine how tasty that might be?
I can only imagine, but I'm going to find me some candy lemons and maybe I'll find out.
Yeah, Nevendar, thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Europe in the house. Holy shit. Sweden. Thank you for being with us. Tell you what, that Nevendar, hell of a cook. And then, of course, for me, I was drinking what I'm going to be featuring on tonight's show. Made a trip all the way to the far-off lands of Kenosha, John. John, were you aware that Kenosha is the next city south of Racine?
I believe I was, because I think I visited there once.
You have visited there, and I went to Tenuta's and picked up a bottle of Jameson cold brew whiskey. So this is Jameson. Oh, look at it. See, the camera thinks it's me now. Ooh, it's zooming in on it. This is like it's like you know, if the COVID wasn't here, we'd have super intern Haley at the Wheels of Steel, but we don't. So I now have a robot doing this. This is this bottle is a hate crime committed by Jameson on a glass of cold brew. I'm enjoying the zooming for no apparent reason. So it says here that it was made with Arabica beans, Brazil and Colombia. It is natural cold brew coffee flavor. It was infused with it. And it is a product of Ireland. Tips the scales at 60 proof, which is pretty mild for a whiskey, which is probably why I'm not more hammered up than I actually was.
Yeah, I can put that whiskey on a list of things I will probably not enjoy, so I will not be purchasing. But the roomie might like it.
No, you're okay with it. I mean, it's not the greatest thing I've put in my mouth, John. I've put things that are better in my mouth. And so, John, what do you have in this evening?
I have Dr. Pepper and Kraken.
Dr. Pepper and Kraken. It's a classic combination. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the co-host with the most, Mr. John Spencer, and yours truly, Menoth John, and to all the first responders, nurses, and everybody out there who's given it all to help keep us safe. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
So, on a related note, COVID-19, suck my dick. I'm tired of you. Just get out of here. I'm done with you. I've had enough. I want my stores open. I want to go play games I want to get the fuck up out of my house. I mean, I'm a wee bit of a hermit. I get that, but I'm ready to go. Oh, I don't know. See a movie, go to the game store, something like that. Have a sit down meal. I mean, this really isn't so much to ask, is it, John?
Apparently it is. But
right,
hey, all those folks in Michigan, they wanted everything open earlier because they know how to socially distance themselves properly. They don't need the government to step in.
Those motherfuckers. There was a lot of Trump. There was a lot of Trump hats in that audience.
Yeah, and there's a lot of blocking the highway and making it hard for emergency vehicles to get through. Which, spoiler, that's not good.
No, and when you get crowded up like that, that's when the coronavirus goes. Yeehaw!
Well, they weren't brave enough to get out of their cars.
Oh, that's right. They stopped on the road. I remember that.
Yeah, that's otherwise. I mean, a crowd can get out of the way of emergency vehicles. So I'm like, okay, sure, you're properly protesting, but I mean, you can't right now. That would be really, really irresponsible of you.
Nevendar, it's okay if you went to sushi today if you live in a country whose government has their shit together, and Sweden kind of does, but
Not so much as jealous. We're happy for you. I mean, it's okay if people have nice things. It doesn't bother us. We want everyone to have the nice things, though.
ladies and gentlemen, Brett Painter in the house. See now, John. Now we're back.
See, that's a man who's got a good flippity poop question, I bet.
You know, we're early on, so the most of the audience has clued into just what a shit show this show really is, and so we have nine viewers right now. This is amazing, and I'm very thankful, each and every one of you. Thank you for taking time out of not being able to do literally anything else, and joining us here tonight. So,
I mean, hey, the roomie and I could watch for Discovery, and by watch Discovery, I could watch Discovery, and he could fall asleep in the middle of episodes because that's how he is right now.
Discovery's fun. I like Discovery.
Spoiler: it's actually not bad enough to fall asleep in. He's just he's, when you have that series that sometimes you just got a problem with it, no matter what it does, you can't.
Yeah.
And I don't blame people. It's just not his thing.
Yeah.
Though the look on his face when a certain thing happened, was like, oh shit. When let's say someone got killed, and he was like, oh shit.
Yep.
That woke him up.
Yep. There you go. Well, folks, on that note, we have flippity bloops tonight. We've got some interesting hobby stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about doing swamp bases because, and we've probably talked about this on the show before, but I can't be bothered.
I'm sure we have.
But we're going to do it again because, when we came back from our hiatus, it's almost like a new child coming into the world. It's like this show is being born again through the screams and agony and the pain of a mother, just squeezing all this content out into the internet. That's exactly what this show is like. And so we thought I'd do it again because it's something I know how to do. And we're just I've got 19 of these undead fish. And over the course of tonight, we're going to try and do as much as we can to get all of the swampy paint done. And maybe we'll get the swamp tufts put on them. So this is a lot easier. John, what will you be working on this evening? How's your big giant head?
Hold on one second. Let me take a picture prior for the hobby streak before. I always like to take a new picture even though I've got that.
Remember, the camera paints first.
My giant head is actually almost done. I just need to finish up his hair and then maybe some other little touch-ups. And then I will seal him up, do the basey bits, finish up that, and then he'll be done.
That's fantastic. I just love the teeth. The teeth are amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of parts of his head where you're like, he's one of those, from a distance, he looks great. As you get closer, you see some of the imperfections. You're like, do I want to touch it up? And you're like, no. It looks good from across the table, and that should be my goal.
Yep. And John, your painting skills, you can tell that you've been a hobbying because your painting has really, really progressed nicely. You're looking great.
It's all coming along. I mean, I got Red Skull here, who I think's looking pretty good, too. So,
yeah.
It's not a lot you can do with him. I mean, it's only so much, but I feel like he's coming okay.
But the Tesseract looks really, really good on him. I mean, you can see that you've done the lighter colors on the inside, and you picked out the corners. It's fantastic. It looks great.
Which is funny because really, it looks like shit up close.
Okay, well, it looks good on camera from here.
It looks fine from far away, so I'm like, leaving it. It's all good.
John, from 1,500 miles away, that looks fantastic, man. I'll tell
But
you.
you.
So,
Oh,
all right. So here we go, kids. You know, we're gonna put on. We've got the. You see in my face. I mean, fuck, look at this, huh? Eh, fucking good. This is what the women show up at the show for. There's literally not a woman watching this show right now, but there's. We're gonna take off my glasses now, and we're gonna go ahead and get to business.
you gonna
So
give it the business?
yeah, we're gonna give it to business. So this is. I'm showing on the camera now as best I can. Is this is the Beaucourt model that I completed during the week. So basically, what I did here was I came back. I after I washed it, and I went ahead and basically I did some highlighting on him, took care of some highlighting up on the especially the bones and things like that. Highlighted the leather a little bit. I think he turned out really pretty good, even in comparison to the other one that I had done. I think this is maybe a little bit nicer because I think I like the color scheme with the purples and the blues and stuff for the feathers. I'm real happy with how he turned out. But now what we're going to talk about, folks, is the basing on him, and I'll get my infamous pointer stick here. Some people call it a paintbrush, John. This is a pointer.
Yeah, but
stick
they don't
for me.
know. They don't know.
No. These are fucking technical terms we're using now. You know,
Yeah.
you could tune into what was that, Painting Buddha, or fuck, I don't know, some people that know what they're doing, and they'll tell you all kinds of technical shit. You know, Chris Sura, Chris Suri has 64 words for what I'm holding in my hand, and some of them, you know, it's like the paintbrush I use when it's snowing outside. There's one word for that. It's much like the Eskimos. Excuse me, the Inuit.
I was gonna say the Germans, but hey.
Yeah, so, exactly, just like that. So, but what we're going to do here now is we're going to come down here, and when you look underneath the water effect, because water effects are clear, or ought to be, you need to paint something underneath them to make it look swampy. So this is a two-part process. There's the putting the swampy bits on the bottom, and then some tufts, and we'll talk about the tufts when we get to that part. Now, folks, for me, the key to doing the swamp base is using thin paints and using when you're using them, you want to be, you know, swamp stuff is in like a green color, kind of a sickly yellow, and then a brown goes really nice too. And so what I'm going to be doing, and I'm not going to use beast hide because I think that's I don't want to open a new thing of paint for this. I must have here, like Guncore brown is going to be the brownish color.
It's a good brown.
And when you're going to do this, and I'm going to bring my wet palette over here onto the camera so y'all can see exactly what I'm doing. And of course it doesn't fit on the camera. So I'm going to have to, folks, I'm going to endanger you here. This is, when I pull this thing away, it's going to be kind of crotch cammy. Okay, just keep in mind, crotch cam could happen. You've been warned.
Oh, we should have advertised that to everyone. That would have brought the that definitely would have brought the ladies.
Oh yeah, the ladies come running for the crotch cam.
They would, as they say, be all up ons.
Yes. So we're so street. So a little bit of the swamp ground, yo. that's what the kids are saying these days, right, John? Yo.
I believe so. Yo is still the thing.
Yeah. It's like when you're wanting to get with the, you want to get ginchy with it. So then we're going to put some of this, this is Craven that I'm putting down. This is from the Minotaur line. Usually you can buy a box of it for $100 at Adepticon, but you can't this year because Adepta can't. Crotch Cam 2020, you know it, bitches. Accidental crotch cam is best crotch cam, by the way.
That's true.
Oh god.
Nope.
But at least I'm not doing crotch cam with a huge base over the top of it, because awkward.
That's been done. I mean, we've already innovated that. We need next level this shit.
That's so whatever year it happened in. All right, so there you go. There's your palette, folks. Now this is like this is about as Bob Rossi as I ever get on this show. But here's your palette. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your paintbrush, and we'll start with this guy here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get it good and moist with that one. And you basically are working this like so it stays wet. And that way, when you start swirling some of these other colors into it, they kind of blend a little bit. And we're just going to go ahead and remember, folks, if you get a little bit of the swampy bit paint on your model's feet, you know what? That happens because you're walking through the goddamn swamp, aren't you?
That is what they would call a happy little accident.
It is a happy little accident. Brother Bob up in heaven's looking down on us going, yeah, buddy. Okay, so now I've got that on there. I'm not even going to wash my paintbrush. I am just going to come in here and, oh, you're saying, what happened there? Oh, no, he ruined it. He's absolutely messed it up. Wait, it's getting better. It's almost like he was doing that on purpose.
It's almost like you know what you're doing, huh?
No, I don't know about all that, but you don't want it to be smooth looking. You want it to be a little like, see, there's that little puddle. Like you might get a little. He kicked up a little bit of sand up in there, and he's oh shit, there's sand coming up because I'm gonna get you.
I have to state at this point that someone could take the vocal track from this and shit would go really sideways with it because it is something else, John.
Yep. So oh look at that, it's oh Jesus, it's all over now. He's got a mess on his hands. Don't know what he's gonna do. Oh, it's blending. Shit. He's got it under control again. Not ruined. Oh, see now, but see, I put a little bit too much of that color in there. Now I gotta improvise. And it's all about the random on here. Oh yeah. So you know what? That one's a little yellow, but we're gonna go with it. And that one's done. We're just gonna leave that the way it is, because that's a happy little accident. What happened on that base. And now we're gonna repeat the process, but we're gonna come back and we're gonna start with that base layer of the swampy ground, because it's a good sort of darker base to kind of work from. That's gonna be your home spot. That's where you're gonna be like, you know, that's like a whole plate full of chicken and waffles, is when you're painting on that one.
I could really go for a plate of chicken and waffles. I ain't gonna lie.
Fucking kill a guy for that. I'd shiv my mom right now. But she's not with us any longer, so that was a little rough to say.
You, of course, mean metaphorically. Metaphorically.
Well, I mean, and by shiv, I mean give her a hug.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now let's put a little bit of that brown in there.
But I will not quite go to KFC and get that the chickens and waffles sandwich thing.
No, don't do that.
Did I tell you how much fat's in that?
Oh God, I can't even possibly fathom it.
I forget the exact number, but it's 100%. All the fat you're allowed for a day in that.
You know, go big or go home. That's what they told me back in the Army when I didn't belong. All right, so there you go. There's two of them that are done.
Donut, that's it, yes. The chicken and donut sandwich. They already had chicken and waffles, which I had some of, which were good, and then hindsight realized how terrible they were for me.
There you go. You know, there's another thing called hindsight, and that's a band that the minister of great times, Ryan Goes, who recovered from the not COVID. They told me he did not have the COVID, but he had all the things like COVID, I'll tell you what. Which means to me that they didn't have the test didn't work out right.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. But, you know, we have to, I hate to say we have to trust the people, but we got to trust the people in power because, I mean, the only option is, well, not pretty.
We'll get to that point someday. All right, so now I'm continuing to do this. Look at it. There's no, John. I'm out of control. There's just anything can happen now. There might be
You are.
There could be an instance here of mass anarchy right on the show.
Do you mean like dogs and cats living together?
Oh, dogs and cats. They're more than living together. They got leases. They've taken out a mortgage. Anything could happen at this point. And then sometimes you want to say, you know what, that's a little bit too crazy. I'm just going to put a little bit of dark back in there. And then, you know what happens is you get that darkness in there, and it's like, oh, my God, I feel a little emo. I feel like I should be playing a little bit of Smith's music. So maybe I'll put a little bit more brown in here and a little brown over there. And then you say, nope, that's enough. I got to walk away from it. Got to say, no, thank you. I've had enough. This is getting a little bit too crazy. And then you put it down. And then it's fine. And you know what the fact is? Nobody can tell you how your swamp looks. Nobody can tell you what your swamp looks like. It could be anything.
Absolutely. The So I find it funny you mentioned the Smiths there in Bumblebee when she puts the Smiths tape in Bumblebee. The first thing I said was, "My sister bought me that for one of my birthdays."
Was it How Soon Is Now?
I think it was Strange Ways Here We Come. I think
Oh,
that was the
okay.
name of
Nice.
it. I mean, good album. I wasn't really emo at all. That wasn't really my thing, but it was a good album. It was enjoyable, different than everything else I was listening to,
Yep.
which I think was the point.
I think Morrissey's got a nice voice. I wish he would get over himself some decade, but that is unlikely to happen at this point.
Yeah, at this point, probably not so much.
No, but I do enjoy his voice. He's got a nice voice.
Yeah.
He's got a fine voice.
And honestly, a lot of that I like to say is sometimes you just need a different type of music. Every once in a while, you want to hear something like that.
Oh god, yeah.
There are a few musics that are all the time musics. For me, it's pretty much only ska.
Yep.
But all musics have their place.
They sure do.
Well, most musics.
Yeah. Except, even in Insane Cloud Posse is good to help you understand how magnets work.
I mean, Insane Clown Posse has a time and a place. The time is never. I'm pretty sure you can figure out the place.
The place is Michigan.
John, so you are not a juggalo?
No.
My boss was actually going, I'm a jugglehead. I'm like, oh,
A jugglehead.
because he's
Well,
joking, of course.
Yeah.
That's totally not his type of music, but he says that stuff, and sometimes I'm not sure if he's not remembered the right name or if he's being funny. Regardless, the result is hilarious.
exactly. Now, if you want to next level this shit a little bit, you might want to pay just a tiny bit of attention around what's going on at their feet, because if you remember, these things they're stepping down, and there's going to be some disturbance at where their feet is. And so if you've made a decision as to what the darkest or the underlying dirt is all about, then that would be a time to put that around their feet. But if you don't, you got 19 of these things. The idea is to have them look nice and be done. So
Yes. Remember, the painting of many models is significantly different than the painting of few models.
the needs of the one are more than the needs of the many. In which case, it's just like being a Republican.
Oh! Wow!
There you
Shots
go.
fired.
Yeah, there you go. Folks, this is a significantly liberaler podcast than it was in its first generation, so it's okay. Anyway, so John, do we have any flippity bloops?
Okay, goddamn right we do. It's almost like I've been keeping track of that shit.
Because you are, what do we say, kids? The best in the business. That's right.
And I actually literally was not joking that Brett Painter actually does have the first flippity blue.
He does. Well, thanks for coming in on the show there, buddy. What's he got for us?
It's very important, too, because I'm struggling very heavily with hobby motivation. I've got time, paints, and models, but not being able to game with my friends has killed my drive.
Oh.
How do I get motivated?
Well, a way you can get motivated is by tuning into the Painting with Men with John Wednesday night extravaganza, of course.
Which step one accomplished.
Exactly. The other thing is, I'm suffering from a lot of the same things, Brett. I started to kind of like War Machine again just before all this happened. And it was very, very difficult to say. But you know what? The way I'm looking at it right now, buddy, is that I know this is coming to an end. This is going to stop. But when it's over with, man, I got that new... I got that new Gareth 2 to play with. I got me a second unit of Swamp Shamblers ready to party at Hardy. So that's my motivation, is kind of getting through this malaise right now to get to the other side where I know there's gonna be some fun times that are gonna be coming down the pipe.
Yeah, I would say for me, obviously, Hobby Streak keeps me going. But if you're not started that, don't want to start that. Make a goal. Like, I want to get this. Make it a reasonable goal. Don't make like some extravagant, I'm going to paint all the things. Be like, I want to get these models done, and then just work on those models. Mm-hmm. Be it a game you want to play, a game, you were playing beforehand, whatever, what you're going to focus on. Just figure it out, try and get some motivation on that, and try and stick to it, It'll give you a goal, and if you don't reach that goal, hey, you can't reach every goal. That's sort of a fallacy of people try to think you can. You can't reach every goal. Some goals should be unreachable. They should be aspirational. That's sort of the point of a goal.
And the other thing that's helped me as I've been working my way back into making things good is And the dead fish are a little bit of an aberration to what I'm about to say. Is that I've really tried to. I was painting at a pretty high level when the show went off the air the first time. And what I've been trying to do is trying to show myself that I can bring my skills back up to that level. And I feel like I'm mostly there. And having the show back has really helped me.
Yeah.
And painting with Menoth John has always been my big motivation. When John and I talked about bringing the show back, one of the things that I know I talked about was that I need this. This is a prime mover in my staying motivated to get things done. I was at like 20 models to paint for like a long time. And being back here on Wednesday nights, being with the brush heads, being welcomed back into the painting community the way I've been has really kind of helped me find my mojo again. But man, don't start with a Swamp Shambler unit.
But if you do want to start with a Swamp Shambler unit, you talk to the other John because he'll provide you with one.
Yeah, don't.
I wouldn't suggest it. I've really been loving painting the Marvel Price Protocol right now because it's a lot of individual models. I think a lot of yours are painted though, but find some game, whatever game you want us to focus on when you get back. Try that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'll make it through. Maybe try and get some guys on Skype or something for a longer hobby night on a time when someone can do it. Talk to me. I can put you up with Petey. Maybe get you in their group. They do that occasionally. I think Thursday nights or whatever. Just find your peeps. Find some way to get motivated and to get together. That'll help you get motivated, like the old days painting in the store type of deal.
Yep. Good advice, John. Good advice.
And before I go to the next one, Crimson1919 says he has the exact opposite problem. His paint desk is next to my computer desk. It's hard to get motivated to work and not paint all day. Well, that's easy. The postman still has to work, and he brings those bills.
Yeah,
as long as he's bringing those bills, you should be working and making that money, unfortunately.
Yeah, just remember, if you need motivation, just remember how sucky it is for so many people out there right now who can't work.
Yeah,
and you don't want to be one of them. And turns out most people don't get paid for doing this.
Yeah. But it's just try moderate. I don't know how much work you got to do. Try it. If you're not working like a full 8-hour day, just try and moderate. You're like, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this log of work I got to do, and I'm going to do this and this log of work. Just try and break it up. Treat the painting as a reward for getting your adulting done.
Yeah, that's a heck of a deal right there. Cool.
All right,
Flippity blue.
Number two is a multi-part by Nevendar.
Nice.
Question 1. This is exactly how he wrote them. Why is Gamora?
Why is Gamora?
Yes.
Well,
I mean, what is Gamora?
What is Gamora or why?
Why? I'm being silly.
So Gamora, the reason why is because Thanos really needed a way to what he felt would be to carry on his legacy after his time, but he's such a perfectionist. He felt like he needed someone that he could craft and things like that. That's why Gamora. Gamora is because Thanos' ego is so incredibly huge.
That's fair. I can't really elaborate on that. So, question 2. Did I find Kraken locally? He says there's a spoiler in the comments, and I have the spoilers, so I'll let you answer this.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. He found a lot of Kraken locally.
Nice.
Question 3. On Spellcaster minis, do you prefer them with or without modeled spells?
Spellcaster minis. The majority of the Spellcaster models I've ever painted have been privateer, and they don't really model any of the kind of spells. I think that if you wanted to like create something on the model that was to represent the spell, I think that that's fine. Where I think that it fails is that when people try to do things like lightning, that it ends up looking like someone attaches pipe cleaners to the model. And I don't think it's necessarily effective nor attractive. So unless you have something that is very evocative, almost like You remember those bases, John? We've seen so many of that are like they would use them for like gunshots and things like that, where you would attach it to the end of the barrel and it would represent the muzzle blast and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those I'm on board with. So if you had something like that, like no one ever did it, but the Privateer in their artwork always used to show like runes spinning around the hands of the spellcasters and stuff. Those would look sharp. But
Well, yeah, they sort of did that in Infinity too with the hackers. They had the little, like they're typing on their little,
their computer
keyboard.
thing
Yeah. So what they did originally is they had these little clear plastic things with stuff printed on them. So you'd put that on their hands, so it looks like they're doing that.
Yep.
You could do that, but I actually do like spellcaster minis with some modeled spells, as long as it's done well and doesn't overwhelm the model. Not Brushhead Dave used to play a mage, Kairos the Fire Mage, who had this big band of fire between his hands over his head. That was cool, it's a little character.
Yep. Even in the Privateer press line with Horgel, the guy that started out like as a junior and then became a full-fledged warcaster. He had that sword of fire. That looked really cool, and that was maybe not a spell, but it was certainly a magical weapon.
Yep, absolutely. That's the kind of thing you do it well. It looks good, but you can easily overwhelm a model with a spell effect, and to the point where the spell effect becomes the majority of the model.
And you could argue that Horgel is that kind of model. I mean, that is the most memorable thing about that model.
Yeah, it is about the only thing I remember, actually.
Yep.
All right, so question 4. Is this way of asking getting tiresome yet?
Not even a little. We appreciate your input. We appreciate you being a part of the group again there, buddy, and I appreciate you taking the time to write all these out.
Question the 6. Not really a question. Just want to say keep up the good work and hope both of you and yours are doing fine.
We're kicking ass and taking names, buddy, and the same with you. Keep on posting in that Cooking with Game Facebook site. Folks, if you're not doing that, if you like good-looking food and you like cooking, Cooking with Game, it's a Facebook site that was originally started by Rich Brotman, and I was lucky enough to be one of the first members of it. It's fantastic. We just kind of post our different foods and things like that. I think this weekend we're looking at a dessert challenge, perhaps.
Yeah, it was a dessert challenge, I think it was said.
And so I don't know what the hell I'm gonna make. I might make a what we call an eclair cake, perhaps. It might be kind of fun because it is my son's 14th birthday weekend, and he is a big fan of their cake. So perhaps that might be on the docket.
No, sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good. It's actually a recipe that Charles's mom is real famous for, as well as Belinda's mom makes a real wicked version of it too.
All right, I have a counter question for Nevinar. Where did question the 5 go? It's missing.
Oh.
We'll have to find it.
Okay.
All right, Martin Shrek goes, which Iron Kingdom's character or Warcaster / Locke would deserve to die of plague the most?
Oh, man.
Haley, fuck her.
Yeah. There's some real
Not because she's a terrible person, but just because I am so sick of her.
There's a lot of rat bastards in the Iron Kingdoms. Fiora's kind of a dick. There's what's that?
Hellbook says all of Signar.
Yeah, I have a tough time voting against Signar on this one, to be honest with you. Because
Haley's the only one in Signar I didn't like, because she didn't really feel like she had a full arc. Her arc was space magic.
Space magic.
It could have been something more interesting, From the cliched, her and Denegra switch sides, where she worked for Crix and Denegra works for Signar, or a bunch of other. There could have been cooler. She could have had an arc like Stryker, where Stryker had a legitimate arc.
She could have been a contender.
She could have. So, Plague. And not to Haley and intern Haley, no. To Haley the stupid warcaster. Victoria Haley. Not Haley. You know what I mean.
Vicky.
Suck a fool. All right. Jeff Brummel asks, if price wasn't an issue, what would be your daily go-to liquor of choice?
Price was no issue.
43. Definitely 43. Good Dorsey Dress. It's so good.
So I had some gins in when I was in Amsterdam that were off the hook. There's this one, a monkey head or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is
I've heard of that.
I've not found a bottle of it since I've been back. And that my friend Sarah, who I was having my happy hour with before we came on the show here. She introduced me to that when we were in Amsterdam on a job, and that shit's smooth as silk. But
I might be able to get the roomie to drink that. He does not like gin.
I will tell you that if you had to give me, can I have a mixed drink for the rest of my life if cost is no option, because I need more than just one booze to make it. My go-to everyday drink for the rest of my life would be a Negroni,
I was thinking that.
and it would be made with Bombay Sapphire gin, because it is the Bombay Sapphire gin smooths out that drink really well, and I really find it delicious.
Well, Brett Painter says Yippee Ki Yay by High West Distillery would be his.
There you go.
I haven't really tried too many super expensives. I mean, really, 43 is probably the most expensive liquor I drink, but it is so good. I could drink it straight. It's been good mixed with everything I've tried it with. So I would definitely be that.
Excellent.
I have some still left at home. Downstairs. I'm at home. Aha!
Aha! I've got 3 models left to put paint on them.
You're rolling, dude. Oh, and Hale Boop says moonshine and a Virginia Mule.
Oh. Very nice.
I've not had Virginia Mule. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, what is a Virginia Mule? Hail Boop, if you could put that into the chat, that'd be very helpful.
And then and I don't want to say it's the most important Flippity Blue, because it is not, because I feel like Brett Painter's is probably the most important, because it's a very, very good question. But Kari Villa has a very good question as well.
Yeah, he's always a good guy. What's up?
When is the next Brushhead Gallery?
You know, he asked that, and I did not. I was going to answer it with sometime. We don't have a schedule for it. Folks, the God's honest truth is, I got to be mentally in the right state to do a Brushhead Gallery. They are incredibly taxing.
I have 2 ideas for a Brushhead Gallery.
Yeah, what's that?
The first one is, we'll schedule it after this is all done. Everyone's done with their painting oomph and playing again. We'll see when we can do it after that. But the other one, John, is do it live.
Oh, you think? Do it live as a John Con thing?
We could try that.
We could try that. I like that idea. So we need to... I'm thinking that... Oh, God. Let's see. What month is it? Man, that'd be a great way to celebrate the end of coronavirus.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. So, like, okay, that's all. That's all on the plate. We're thinking about it. You brought up some good points. Got my wheels turning. Now I got his wheels turning. You know, that's a good sign.
Yep. No, I like the thought there. God, do I have enough brown left to finish these 2 models? I don't think I do, John. I got to put a little more brown in here because it's getting contaminated.
Sometimes you got to.
Yeah.
So Elboop did say it's basically a Moscow Mule, but swap the vodka for a nice American whiskey.
Okay. It probably gives it a nice little kind of brown sweet flavor to it too. That's nice.
Yeah, probably find some good whiskey from Virginia even might help. I don't know what good whiskeys are in Virginia. I don't know a lot of good things from Virginia.
I know very little about Virginia, to be honest with you.
It's south of me.
I bet you that there are nice people there. And I bet you that there are not so nice people there.
And the people around the people around the heavily populated areas are terrible drivers, just like those in Maryland.
Yep. Well, you know, there you go.
And we both curse at each other and say, "I bet you it's a Virginia license plate." It usually is, but I'm sure down there they say, "I bet you it's a Maryland license plate," and I'm sure it is.
Oops.
How it goes.
That was almost a disaster. My guy almost fell into my paint.
That would have been definitely no bueno.
That would have sucked. That would have been bad times.
Yeah, I have to be careful with mine, with my whole big section of lights and camera and everything. I have to sort of pull the guys out carefully and put them in front when I'm painting on them, because otherwise I might knock them off. Hell, I've lost 2 different models off their bases, and they were plastic glued. that way.
That's significant.
Well, Captain America, for some reason, has tread on the bottom of his feet. Even though it's supposed to sit flat, it's got full tread, so I'm sure it didn't just glue that well. And then Black Widow's got small feet, so I imagine those are the two reasons why it was those two. But they were both easily fixed. So.
You know what they say about small feet? Small feet, small boots.
Small socks, small
boots.
shoes.
Yeah. There you go. Flippity bloops.
That's all of them.
Oh, that's good. Well, that's not bad. That's a good one.
Yeah, that was all good. Yeah, we a little bit from the Painting with John page, a little bit from the Hobby Hangout, or not the Hobby Hangout, but from War Machine Hordes Painting.
Yep. If there's any other questions that are there in the chat room, though, it would be a great time to do it. As it turns out, folks, I am not going to probably be putting the bases on these things, excuse me, the tufts, on camera tonight, because the true fact of the matter is that honestly, because you're using airbrush paints, they're more dilute. They take a lot longer to dry, and you really want to make sure that the paint that you're putting on is completely dry before you put the tufts on.
Yeah, when people ask why I'm working on multiple models at once, it's generally because sometimes I do something that's got to dry, or I usually drink it a little bit while I'm doing this, or I've gotten a little much alcohol. I mean, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to try this fine detail while I'm a little under. Hey, Legionnaires, sorry for getting late. The topic, painting, always.
There you go.
You missed the flippity bloops, unfortunately.
That's all right. Catch it in post-production, man. This will be updated onto the YouTubes probably tonight.
Just doing some final touches.
There you have. There you go, kids. All the dead fish have paint on their base, just like that. And that was 19 models in 40 minutes.
Yeah, that was good work.
But for that kind of work, folks, it's not fine work. That's a kind of work that you just kind of crank it out. We had another question from Nevendar. Should I do a diorama? That honestly depends on if you want to, son.
Yeah, that's a lot of work, but they can look so awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a, I gotta put my glasses on. I gotta move my headphones back. If you have a subject for the diorama that you want to, and just kind of show off your work, I mean, shit, you got the skills to make it happen, buddy. Yeah, Twitch just gave him the notification that we were online. Well, shit. Not much I can do about that. That's Twitch just being twitchy. And,
see what you did?
Yeah, I know. So some of these are kind of dry, but we're gonna let them sit overnight. I think, John. I think we're just gonna let them. They're gonna do their thing, and get nice and dry. And then tomorrow I will put. So I'll kind of talk about it. Is I like these from Army Painter. This is I use a couple of them. There's the Army Painter's Wilderness Tuft that I've got right here. I like these. This is kind of a random tuft. It's pretty nice. And then these are a little bit more structured tufts. This is the Swamp Tuft, and there's another one in here that's a little bit of a browner color that's also a Swamp Tuft. And these, all you do is you take a tweezers and you pull them off, and you put a little bit of super glue on the backside of them. Boop, down. Now, on a model of this size, I will probably put 1, maybe 2, and just maybe 2.
Yeah, just sort of like if you were putting large rocks on the base of a model, that kind of base, sometimes less is more. You want to put it like, it's a rocky area, but 1 or 2 gets you the idea you want. You don't want to clutter up the base.
You just want, and frankly, for the next step, if you put too many of them, it becomes very, very difficult to put down the water effect accurately. You want to leave yourself a little bit of space to get the water effect in. So 1, maybe 2 on a small size base like this. If you look at the Bocure, I put 2 in the front and 1 in the back. But
he's got a bigger base.
He's got a medium-sized base. So, and that's honestly pushing it a little bit. He didn't necessarily need to have 3. He could have had 2, and it would have been just fine. But
you can also use them to hide various indiscretions. If this is part of like the foot, I can't get this part right. You put it right next to that part of the foot, no one's going to notice.
Yeah.
You're all good.
Like for instance, I'll even show you a little mistake on this model. this model, when I airbrushed the underskin on it, it's a little hard to see here, but the yellow got a little bit too far forward towards the foot. That foot's like really effing yellow down on the bottom here. But I put a little tuft on there, and you never see it.
So Hale Boop says he likes the tufts from Shadow's Edge.
Shadow's Edge, you say?
And there's another company I've heard of called Silfor, I believe it's called, that does tufts as well. So there's a lot out there.
Oh, accidental crotch cam. Oh shit.
So here's my here's one of the other ones that I'm working on here. Here's the Red Skull. He's actually almost done.
Very nice.
But just a little bit of details. I know some of the guys are coming in late, hadn't seen him, so
very, very nice.
He just needs a couple tiny touch-ups that I need to do, like on his hand. And his the hardest thing was deciding what to do with his Hydra patch. Just sort of like what color.
Sure, that is something that maybe you want to do, even something maybe a little non-canon, because you want it to stand out. Now, Legionnaire is just asking about airbrush painting. Do I have an airbrush setup? I do. I do, and I've had it set up here in the basement for quite some time. I'm going to switch over to the face cam. We've had it for some time set up, and really, for me, the airbrush helps me a ton with models that, like for instance, on this one, on the little the Beaucourt guy, I assembled them. I came with the one color on his back, and when you do that with an airbrush, that really does a nice job of kind of feathering the color on the far side of it, and then came around to the back side here to actually where the chest is, and I hit it with airbrush on that side too, and that way you get transitions that are frankly very, very challenging to get with a brush style painting. So crotch cam twice, I think that's enough to be a rated R show now. Now, if we're not, rated R, we're looking for this to be up on frickin' Pornhub. So there you go. How much space?
They let anyone on Pornhub, honestly.
How much space did I use? Well, it's hard. I wonder if I could point my camera over there, John, and anybody would be able to make anything out of it.
I do not know. I wish I'd had mine set up to help him with that. I haven't set mine up yet.
Here, let's try this, because Legionnaires has been with us forever.
So yeah, I've seen multiple. John's gonna try and take a look, but my buddy El Marshall has his set up, and it's really just as big as the booth. He put it on something. He stands there, does a little airbrush. He's not there for hours or anything because he still does a lot of brush painting, and then that's as big as it is.
Okay,
let's see.
There's my dog. You can see over there next to the treadmill.
Yep, right there.
You can see the airbrush booth, and then you can see the little green compressor next to it.
Yep, and it's right on top of a cardboard box, probably an Amazon box, honestly.
It is an Amazon box. And,
yeah.
And that's it. The little cagey thing next to it is just a place for my cats to hang out, and it also, like all my Minotaur paints are in there. And that's just it. There's a little thing next to where the compressor is that I put my airbrush for basically just so I can spray it out with the Windex. But that's all there is now. There's a little hose. You can see the silver hose there?
Yep.
The basement here used to have a dryer in it. So that is the dryer discharge, and I just hooked the exit of the airbrush tent up to it. So, and yes, indeed, there is Ramen Dog. Ramen Dog, otherwise known as Chewy the dog.
Yeah, so that's sort of like what my buddy Marshall does. That's sort of the same space you use. It's only really needs to be as big as the slightly bigger than the hood you're using for it, the wherever you're spraying into.
Yep. So it works out. I hope people have enjoyed that. I mean, it's not a very professional way of showing you all that stuff, but if it's of interest, I'm absolutely happy to do that. I will be sharing space with my girlfriend's embroidery machine. That should be fine. That should be absolutely fine. Should not be a problem. Now, I do like how these bases turned out. They're a little more brown in color than the Beaucourt, which is a little... I wish it was a little less brown, I guess, but that's okay. But once you put the water effect on it, it's gonna minimize that a little bit. So I think it's gonna turn out really, really good. Now the other pro tip, guys, if you're doing the swamp base, the thing you need to remember is seal your model before you put the water effect on. Because if you use a dull coat sealer like I do, I use the Vallejo matte varnish in my airbrush, and so that allows me to go very quickly and to seal a lot of models quickly. And so what I will do yet to these models after these bases dry is I will come back and I will paint their rings, and I will mark the rings and put put arc markers on it and stuff, and then I will seal it, and then I will add the water effect. And for me, usually two layers of water effect gets me the depth that I want. If you only do it a single, Privateer puts a texture on their bases on the actual the round lipped bases, and I don't want that to necessarily show up terribly through the water. So I like to put 2 layers on there, and then you don't get any of that texture from the base showing through, because it's not the water effect's not a thick thing. And what water effect do I use? I had used the Secret Weapon Scenics realistic water. I ran out of that, and now I use the stuff from Woodland Scenics.
Woodland Scenics. They've been doing this shit for a while, guys.
I've had this bottle so long. This was a gift from Charles's mom's father, which means I got it while we were still married, and he's passed away for some years now. And I've had it's still good, still plenty good. You keep the top on it, you're golden. So, yeah, so that's how you do swamp bases, folks. Hope you enjoyed today's episode of that part. We still got a little bit of time to go here.
A couple more touch-ups on Mr. the Red Skull here. Got a little heavy on a couple of things, but
I think people might be interested in knowing. They might be interested in knowing what's next. After I complete these guys, on the next episode of Painting with Menoth John, I will be starting to work on the hooch hauler again. So the hooch hauler is assembled, it's primed, the bears are done. The bears were what I was working on when we brought the show back. So the bears are all finished up. Now what that job is going to entail is we're going to take the hooch hauler, which right now is not attached to the base, and we're going to finish the undercarriage first. So we're going to paint up the undercarriage. We're going to almost paint this as a 2-phase project. We're going to do the undercarriage and wheels all the way to completion. So we're going to base them out. We're going to block them out. We're going to wash them. We're going to highlight them. We're going to shadow them, and then we're going to marry the bottom, the everything together. So we'll have the bears glued to the yoke, and we're going to bring the hooch hauler onto the base, and then I'm going to pin it to the base, and then we'll start working on the rest of it. Because with this particular project, you can't, once it is such a compact model that if you don't do that, you won't be able to paint the whole model. And I think in this one, I'm going to be a little more ambitious with the base. It's going to be looking like it's rolling through the snow. I'm going to put in the snow, I'm going to put paw prints from the bears. I'm going to try to figure out what their gait would be and things like that, and try to really make it, since it's my last War Machine and Hordes model, I really want it to kind of represent some of my best, most careful work.
I do like the paw prints. I did track marks on the bottom of some of my 40K bases of some servitors. It was a little bit of pain, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah, and that I'm going to have, where the wheels have gone, I'm going to have snow having been built up and spilling over where it's pushing down into the mud, and then and I'm going to build some snow effects around it, and then I'm going to take a little bit of dark color and I'm going to put some mud in on the snow, and we're going to give her a hell of a shot. I don't know how great it's going to turn out, but the bears turned out beautiful. So
my biggest suggestion is to make sure you you overstate all the furrows and the tracks.
Okay.
Because they'll get lost a little bit as you paint them. They won't be able to see like the actual depth they are. But if you overstate them a little bit, I think it'll look better.
So in other words, make the ruts a little deeper than they actually might otherwise be?
Yeah, exactly. Just a little bit.
Okay. But I'm real happy with where the base sits. I mean, I've already kind of I've painted essentially the base with the kind of muddy, gross feel I want to it, because I want it to be like really like they're mucking through the forest and it's really looking like hell. And I used a secret weapons base for that one. It's going to turn out pretty good, I think. So,
Awesome.
how are you doing on your painting stuff, buddy? You want to get into the?
Yeah, we can get into it. I'm always at a good stopping point. I mean, slow details. This is still details in progress.
Cool. All right, folks. Well, we'll go ahead and we'll start up the media section now. John, you for the media section last week, you led off, so I think I should lead off this time, and
Sure.
folks, there's a movie called. Sometimes Amazon utterly amazes me with the dreck that they find, but I've sort of become, as we've all been kind of trapped in the COVID at Starbucks, we have these meetings with the overall large engineering group, and I've kind of become the guru of terrible movies. No, this is not Velocipaster. This is the God Monster of Indian Flats. The God Monster of Indian Flats is on Amazon Prime, and the tagline for the movie says that it's it's the story of an 8-foot toxic rampaging sheep monster that is terrorizing children's parties and all of this stuff. So, John, I confronted the fella today that recommended this movie to me, and I turned off the computer, and I shouldn't have done that, but I gave him some facts about the God Monster of Indian Flats. So, and I'll do my level best to remember those fun facts. First fun fact: the movie itself is an hour and 29 minutes long. Okay. The first time that the God Monster makes an appearance outside of a box, outside of a little box that you can barely see what the hell's inside of it, comes at 1 hour and 7 minutes into the movie.
Oh my.
Okay. At 1 hour and 17 minutes, the God Monster is vanquished and blows up. That means he was on camera. The titular feature character, the God Monster himself, lasted 10 minutes.
Wasn't that sort of the problem with the Godzilla movie from earlier, the one the one that they sequeled to Godzilla King of the Monsters, which is actually good.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Huh.
So
Almost like that doesn't work.
Yeah, so that happened. The amount of time spent developing a story about how an African American gentleman was in Nevada trying to buy people's mining rights as opposed to selling them to the white guy that basically owned the town. 1 hour and 7 minutes.
I think they made a slight mistake on the title of this.
Yes, they should have called it The White Monster of some shitty place in Nevada. Then
Wow.
and then I had other little fun facts like number of random flaming cars being thrown at the God Monster or pushed down the hill at the God Monster by the people of Virginia City, Nevada. 4.
Okay.
Then number of children, closest distance that children were from the God Monster at any time, 20 feet. John, the God Monster itself was a guy with a posture problem in a shaggy suit with a papier-mâché head, and one of his arms was a solid 2.5 feet longer than the other one.
Wow. That's a hell of a costume.
You know, the movie that I kind of base shitty special effects on is Birdemic. I mean, Birdemic is a classic. It's literally somebody took Mario Paint more or less and somehow figured a way to merge that on there.
Why are you insulting Mario Paint like that?
This has 10 times the budget of Birdemic. 10 times. at $135,000. It had 10 times the budget. And the best they could do was a paper mache head with no articulation. The mouth didn't move, nothing moved. And you felt bad for it because when it was trying to run away from the cowboys, it at least had to get up to 2.5 miles an hour. It
The
looked
whole
like
two and a half.
it looked like it had arthritis.
Oh,
They captured it when 10 cowboys rode around in circles on horses and then lassoed it with ropes. Not guns, ropes.
okay. Wow.
So, the God Monster of Indian Flats Hills something. God Monster. You'll find it. Was as hard to watch as Atlantic Rim. And the only reason I would give
And that's a powerful statement, folks.
the only reason I might give a tip of the hat to Atlantic Rim was that at least kind of sometimes the exterior shots of the robots were kind of fun. But
Look, when you make a movie, I'm going to generally say 25 years after Robot Jocks, and it looks worse than Robot Jocks, you have made an accomplishment.
yes. So I'm going to give this a solid 5 shots of Kraken, folks. I don't know
Sounds
that it takes the titular 5 shots of Kraken because Atlantic Rim had easily 10 times the budget of the God Monster. Easily.
Cats.
It had to cost at least $1 million to make.
And that's why Cats is the top dog to me.
Yeah.
Ha, Cats top dog.
So
because the budget, oh my.
I haven't seen Cats. I feel like I need to
Don't.
see Cats.
No. So, Lindsay Ellis she's a movie reviewer, movie theoretician. She was a film student and has a YouTube channel. She did a video called Why Cats that is significantly shorter and will give you enough horror to let you know if you wish to watch it or not. The answer will almost definitely be no.
Okay.
But check that out, because why waste 2 hours of your life when you can waste 20 minutes and also have a scathing commentary by someone who ostensibly actually likes cats in
Yeah.
theory?
Okay. Nevendar, I've seen Giant Gila Monster. Giant Gila Monster is cinematic gold compared to this monstrosity.
Oh my.
Giant Gila Monster is a Gila monster. This is a paper mache dude in a fuzzy suit with one, for some reason, longer leg than the other. And I don't mean by a little bit. So there you go. God Monster of Indian Flats. Go fuck yourself. All right, John, you're up next.
If you're watching Amazon hot takes, you should definitely be watching Robo Vampire.
Robo Vampire, yeah. I can't believe I haven't done that one. Maybe I'll get Chuck in on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So mine, I actually watched the Clone Wars animated movie.
I bet you that didn't work out well.
It was a movie that happened. It is the things I can say about it. You can tell it is for kids.
Yeah.
They are taking the easy route. The droids are there for comedy. Ahsoka is extra. The YA angsty, let's say. I don't want to say teen, but definitely young adult, kid angsty. She's arguing with authority theaters because she can.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not terrible.
Yeah, some of the Ahsoka stuff lasts all the way through season 1. It really does. But she really makes she turns it around. Her character matures a ton.
I mean, again, as someone who has watched, the Fast and the Furious series, the Transformers series, and the first 2 Star Wars movies, this is fine. It's obviously a little more kid focused. I hear that goes away as they realize they need to be aiming. They need to not be Lucas and aim a little more, middle, a little higher.
Yeah.
So the whole plot is they have to rescue Jabba the Hutt's son because he's been kidnapped.
Zero.
Kidnapped. Yeah, it's...
No, his son. That's right. Zero comes later. Never mind.
Yeah. No, Zero comes in the Zero the Hutt.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, was plot... He/she?
It.
Sounds like a she, called he,
They're all
don't know.
They're all little. It's hard
But in
to
any
say.
case,
No judgment.
at the end of the day, Zero helped plot that with Count Dooku. It's got the worst, tropes in it. It's like, look, we took a video of Anakin with your son saying how he hates Hutts. Obviously, the Jedi stole your son to make you do what they want. I'm like, really?
Inconceivable.
Like, Jabba's a smart criminal mastermind. The fuck's he gonna fall for that bullshit?
Yeah. Yep.
It really is, at the end of the day, if you think about it, it is actually insulting to several of the characters.
Fair enough.
It's not good. It's not terrible. It's 2.5 shots of Kraken.
Yeah.
It is much that you can watch it if you need to. Do you have to watch it? No. I don't know that it'll ever be required watching. I'm sure some of it comes up again later, but I'm sure they explain it because they do that in these series. Padme's in it, but she's like shoehorned like a motherfucker in it.
Yeah.
She really has to be shoehorned into dealing with Zero because he's on Coruscant and helping out Anakin because she loves him. Not a better love story than Twilight. It's just not.
Padme never grows as a character.
Nah, I'm not surprised. To be fair, she doesn't really have a place aside from support character when our Coruscant in a Clone Wars series. She should not be in it more.
Yeah, no, she's.
Honestly, I think she was in the original Clone Wars series more, but that series is apocryphal now and not really canon. But still very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'll rewatch that again. That might be like a little too much all at the same time of not movies and such.
Yeah, I get it.
But we'll see. I said 2.5 shots of Kraken. I will eventually get back to the series. I did not after that. I wanted a little taste about something else in the meantime.
Yep. I have not gotten back to see another episode of Tales from the Loop yet. That'll be fine. That'll be good. For me, the biggest other media news that was coming out was some of the casting choices for Kevin Smith's new project. What the hell? I know he's got Mark Hamill and Henry Rollins being.
Oh, is that the Masters of the Universe?
Yeah, the He-Man, the Masters of the Universe one. The voice talent and the people he's bringing into this movie are crazy. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Kevin Smith's actually someone I think who's never really, and this might sound weird, never really gotten a fair deal to direct what he wants to direct. All of his projects I thought would have been truly awesome, like fictional projects, not like Mallratsy type stuff.
Yeah, no.
Never got off the ground because he was doing Green Hornet, and his Green Hornet got turned into a comic series, and it is, this is going to shock you all, hold on to your hearts, better than the movie that came out. What?
Yeah.
I know. But that would have been an actual good movie because it was an homage to the original. The original took place, and it's just sort of coming in. Daredevil was garbage. That was not Kevin Smith.
I was just gonna say,
did he write it?
Did he actually do Daredevil?
Oh, he's talking about runs on comics. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, his comics have been good. But say the movie, I actually don't hate the Daredevil movie. I know, shock of shocks, John doesn't hate that movie after watching Transformers movies and thinking they were okay. Apparently my standards are not as high as I think.
Fair enough.
So John, you've seen some of Discovery, right?
I have seen the first season of Discovery.
Okay, so let me tell you where we are, and I'll give you a my review to this point.
And I will tell you, it's been a minute, John. So.
Oh, no worries. All broad strokes. They just got back from the Mirror Universe.
Okay.
I think it started off very slow.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I feel like they could have had a subplot. I think, first off, they should have made this smaller series.
Okay.
They should have had it be here's 5 episodes. We're done with this plot line. Pick up. Here's 5 more episodes or so, whatever it is. Next plot line. They could have made it smaller chunks.
Yeah.
Give it a more complete feel. But they went for the 20-some episode season.
Yep.
And it's got lots of subplots. And I kind of like that. It did start off a little slow because the first one was sort of the start of the war with the Klingons.
Yeah.
It's let me say what I said. Otherwise, they should not have taken stuff that already exists and retconned it to be different.
Mhm.
When you take a weapon, you call it a batleth, and it doesn't look like a batleth that's been around for years, you're just changing shit to change shit.
Yeah.
There's no reason to change it.
Yep.
Now, the Klingon costumes, I'll give you a pass on if you felt like you wanted a different look for them.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a reason for it. I thought they're a little heavy as far as prosthetic-wise. It hides a little bit of the actors, makes it a little harder for some of them to show their emotions. And they all seem very wooden and forced-speaking Klingon, which is a problem.
Yep.
And it comes later when some of the humans speak Klingon for reasons, and it doesn't seem as forced then. It seems more natural. You can sort of see. It seems also might be the quality of actor, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
So, not really a fan of that, but I find it does pick up. And I mean, by the time you get to the Mirror Universe, I thought it was darn amusing. And the whole Mirror Universe is a great tie back to all the old Star Trek to fit it in, and just very interesting in addition.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Discovery struggled to find its grip in the first season. I really do. I thought that there were moments where there's parts of the technology that are in that show that are a little too Deus Ex for me.
Yeah,
And
but that's vintage Star Trek. That makes it more Star Trek, not less, unfortunately.
no, I get it, but I think they can
Do better.
Picard showed us that it can be done better.
Yes.
And there's no doubt. I mean, Discovery is fine Star Trek. It's fine. But it is not transcendent Star Trek. That's what Picard is.
Yeah, I would agree so far. I would actually think it's more Star Trek than people were leading me to believe. I was told the first season was good sci-fi, not necessarily good Star Trek. It's okay Star Trek. There's an episode in there that is vintage Gene Roddenberry Star Trek.
Yep.
And there's a lot of war episodes that are more closer to DS9 or something like that.
Yep.
I like a lot of the characters that they're introducing.
Mm-hmm.
Only a handful are like, fuck that guy. Most of them are non-humans because fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Mostly, actually, it's the main Klingon ones, aside from the female. You're like, fuck those guys. I don't really care about them.
Yep. No.
Why are they getting more sticky roles?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of how they treated the Klingons in the show, to be honest.
No. So right now I'm giving it about 2 shots of Kraken. I have a
Fair
feeling
place
that
to be.
that's going to go lower because, I mean, there's some good stuff. And I love an actor of Jason Isaacs' sort of credibility
Yeah.
coming in and willing to be in a series for a part. Same with, God, why is my brain not working? Probably because I've been drinking.
Yeah, that's fine.
Asian, female, God damn it.
Yeah.
Who's in it?
The captain.
The captain, yeah. Why?
Yeah. Not
Michelle Yeoh. God damn, why can't I remember that? Like, she's in it for a couple episodes, then she's in it for a couple more episodes. Like, getting big actors like that is great.
Yep.
It helps.
Yep. So I agree. I think the first so I mean, to be honest with you, I was watching that show because I could watch it on Netflix when I was in Italy.
Haha, sneaky man. I like it.
Yeah. So, but I would come back and then all of a sudden it wouldn't work because all the DRM would say, "Oh, look at you! You're back in the fucking States, idiot."
I think we might be able to fix that problem. I think we may have fixed that problem.
So, yeah, I'm gonna rewatch it. I know Belle wants to watch it, so I think we're gonna start rewatching it. We're currently watching Dark on Netflix, which is German Stranger Things,
Okay.
which is a little painful because they put translations up sometimes, and Belle and I both. Belle's really very good at German. I'm okay, and it's like that's not what that says.
Yeah, it's hard when they do that. I do like when they put up some translations just so they can get more audiences. That helps a lot.
Yep.
But yeah, so I mean, not terrible. I mean, it's good that we got some consistent Star Trek going on.
Oh, for sure. I don't have a whole lot else to talk about, John.
Let's see. Do I have any other? I mean, I didn't really watch anything else during the week. We watched about 12 or 13 episodes of Discovery so far. We're about halfway through the season.
Yeah,
It's pretty good for handful of days.
that is.
And plus we didn't watch for a couple days. He wasn't into it, so I watched. That's when I watched the Clone Wars movie. I didn't watch any more after that. Anything else? Anything older you want to bring up and talk about before we go?
Only thing I can say is one of the quick thing. I'm caught up now on season 7 of the Clone Wars, and
Oh.
I was a little concerned with the first few episodes, and they shifted camera to a different character, which I can't go into because I don't want to mess it up for you.
It's almost like it probably has already been spoiled for me. So here's the funny thing about Discovery. I've seen clips, so I know things that are coming. Some of it's been spoiled. So far, nothing's been spoiled that's ruined anything.
Okay. Well,
So, but
I mean,
let's not spoil it for our fans.
yeah.
They may not be as spoilery as me.
Yep. And that character is rock solid as always, and super fun, and I've enjoyed that part of it. It looks as though like Filoni had a few storylines he wanted to tie up after the conclusion.
I hear he's actually grown a lot as a director and showrunner, because he is actually the director of the Clone Wars movie. I saw that and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't think he did anything wrong with it, but it wasn't. I want to be like, this was made for kids. He had a different directive when he was doing it, and now they have a different directive, and it is true. I mean, when he was doing it, it was actual Lucasfilm, not Disney. Lucasfilm under Disney. So
Yeah.
that's something to think about. I mean, not everyone's got a perfect record. Even someone like we love, like Jon Favreau, doesn't have a perfect track record.
No.
I mean, hell, he made Elf.
Yep. And you're gonna get, after you get done with the Clone Wars, and you get to where Rebels is.
Which is after Solo, I believe. I think I'll watch Solo between the two.
Yes. It is.
Looking forward to it.
It's just amazing. It takes a little bit to get used to the new characters. It's still got a kind of a kid thing going on, but man,
Remember, I've seen season 1 already, so I've probably seen already the lowest point of it.
Yeah, you have, because I mean, by the time that you get into the later series and the relationships start to gel, I kind of want a Ghost model. I want a model of the Ghost, which is the ship that they're on in Rebels.
Yeah, buy the X-Wing one. It's not too expensive. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I saw that one at the
I'd send you
store.
mine, but I got it second hand. It's got a couple broken bits, so it's not going to be.
I can get it. Yeah, the Ghost is such a cool ship.
It is very cool. It is probably the most iconic Star Wars ship to come out since the Millennium Falcon.
Agreed. 100% agreed.
And it's what it needs. I mean, I like the ship that I forget the name of it, that Mando's running on, but it's not the same. It's not a character like the Ghost is. It's not meant to be.
Yeah,
which is good.
The Ghost is a character, and the
Yes.
Ghost pulls some shit off that very few ships can pull off. It's so heavily modified. So
yeah, it's very cool. That if you ever wanted to run a Star Wars role-playing game, you need to watch Rebels to see how you should do it.
No, that's exactly how you should do
it. That's the sort of idea you should be going for.
Yep, and you can run your that is a perfect. It's almost like Rebels came out of a role-playing session. To be honest,
you mean like Dragonlance style?
Yeah. I
wonder.
It's very cool. Maybe that's where they got some inspiration for it. You never know.
But so to finish my trifecta of sci-fi, because 2 sci-fi series aren't enough for me, John.
No.
I am still I'm reading BattleTech novels.
Cool.
Started last year. I got through the Warrior series, which is not the first series, but it's what I started with. I should have started with the first series, which is actually the Great Death Legion. I'm on the 3rd book of that. I finished the 2nd one. I'm halfway. I'm 51% through the 3rd book of it. It's not as good as the Warrior series, but to be honest, Michael Stackpole is probably my favorite author.
Sure.
And, his stuff always really resonates. He does a good political intrigue with other stuff like few can. This is not bad. He really, in the 2nd book, there's a marked improvement through it as he gets through it, that it's just getting better and becomes a lot more interesting. There's one more book that comes before this that I haven't read. It's called The Sword and the Dagger, but I'm not going to pay $145 for a paperback book.
No, I hear you.
Apparently one that is since it's the first, well, it's 2nd technically, but one of the first, it's apparently not that good as far as BattleTech goes. No one says it's bad, but the first couple books in any expansive sci-fi series are always going to be a little rough as they're figuring everything out. So,
Yep.
I found it online, but it's hard to read on my computer. So I might read it. I've been told by Michael Stackpole himself. Maybe I don't need to.
Cool. Well, there you go. If the author isn't a big fan, that's usually.
Well, he's not the author of it, but he's familiar with it because he has to be familiar with all the stuff. Because like he was with Shadowrun, he was one of the ones who was telling you how to do this sort of model or novel. Same with X-Men. Many of my favorite series are written by Michael Stackpole.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, a lot of BattleTech there. I'll keep going through those books as long as I can. And spoiler, I have a lot of books, and they have way more that I haven't read. We'll see how far I get before I'm like, fuck it, I have to do something besides I'm fine.
Well, and there you go, folks. I mean, as we stare down the barrel of this COVID, yet there's light at that end of the tunnel. Remember, folks, keep yourself away from other folks. Wear that mask. If you're out in person, if you're out in real life, get that mask on. Don't give a shit what you look like, okay? Just get that mask on.
Even if it's not one that's supposed to be rated to stop the disease, it's not stopping the disease. You're stopping potential, just random, particles in the air. Like someone accidentally sprays it, doesn't say it, A little bit of spray, it'll stop that, and thus maybe protecting you. Or it might stop yours, maybe protecting them.
Right. And every little bit counts. Even if it isn't going to necessarily get 90% of it, maybe, you're increasing the chances. And
everything you can do to make everyone better off is good. Yep. Follow whatever your government. I mean, I hate to say it this bluntly. It's not usually our thing, but do whatever the government's saying. If they're saying, you got to stay home, you got to stay home.
Yep.
Go out only for what you need to. I mean, that means if you want to go to Burger King and get food, but go through the drive-through Burger King and get food. You got to get out a little bit
and put that mask on when you're going through there. Just make sure you got that mask on when you're going through to get your food, too. I was a little self-conscious of it the first time I went to the grocery store in it because I wasn't sure how people were going to feel about it. But then I saw 5, 6, 10 other people with masks on, and I felt like giving them an elbow bump, saying, yeah, we're doing our parts, man. We're keeping everybody safe. That's what you got to do. You got to revel in that stuff so that we can all be healthy. We can all get back to normal, whatever our new normal life is going to be. Because much like 9/11, we're never going to be the same, and that's okay. If we just got to.
Not everything about 9/11 was bad. There was some necessary security that came out of 9/11. We were really fucking lax in some things, and there's some bad things that came out too. But that's sort of unfortunately the way of the world. But we got to work together to keep the good going and stifle the bad. And the more we do now, it'll help going forward.
That's right, folks. And that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. We're going to keep the good things going forward. We're going to keep the bad things in our rearview mirror. And we're going to do our level best to protect our fellow people. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a privilege to spend our Wednesday nights with you all. Hope you enjoyed your time here on the Painting with Menoth John Wednesday night experience. I'm, of course, Menoth John. That's the wind beneath my wings, Mr. John Oakland Spencer. We're going to be back here next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. If you need something, reach out. We're going to flippity bloop. We're going to do all this. We're going to do all that. We're going to do this, that. The camera's going to move. It's going to be amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great week. We'll see you next time on Painting with Menoth John. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
The God Monster of Trump Tower. That's the movie I want to see.
I bet the monster's orange.